my brother Mike Tyson, please.
Hey, Mike.
How you doing, Mike?
Welcome to Lathrop.
Mike, welcome to Lathrop. Welcome to Lathrop.
So I'm going to kind of start off. Mike's going to talk. We'd maybe like to do some questions and interact with you guys. We're not really here to talk at you. But you know, one thing I've been asking a lot lately, who here believes in luck? Please raise your hand. Believe in luck? A lot of people believe in luck. That means you guys are confident, a lot of strength. That's great. But let me tell you something. Luck is when preparation meets opportunity. In life, you have to make great choices and be prepared to have success. You might have an opportunity to meet somebody or something might fall on your lap, but if you drop the ball, you've lost the opportunity. So lucky opportunities might come along, but if you don't take advantage of it, you're going to lose those opportunities. And life's about choices. Every day you make choices. Every day confrontations come along your way. How are you going to deal with something? How are you going to resist a temptation? So life's about choices that you're going to make. Mike and I lived and trained together. We were fighters. We had that inspiration to be fighters. We made a choice to move our lives in a different direction. And that's what we want to come here and reach out for you guys to do. It's, life is not going to be, and you'll learn through Pastor Anderson and through your other mentors, life is not about what you're going to take from it. Life's about what you're going to give into it. You're going to be remembered in your community, not by what you took, not by what kind of car you drove, not by how much money you have, not by how many girlfriends or materialistic things. You're going to be remembered by what you contribute in your community. That's what you've got in Pastor Anderson. That's what you've got in other leaders. That's what you've got in coaches. You know what coaches have in their hand every game? They have a playbook. You know what a playbook is? That's a path to success. They've worked on that. Bright minds, brighter minds than mine. Put down X's and O's and they work out offense and defense. It's a pathway to success. And that's what you guys need to do. You have to have a playbook for success. What's it going to take? How are you going to be successful? It doesn't happen by accident. It's going to happen by the choices that you make. And the life you live will be a direct result of the choices that you make. It's not going to happen by accident. It's going to happen by the definitive choices that you make. So with that, we kind of welcome some questions, but Mike also, I know, is here to chat with you guys as well.
Wow, this is really amazing.
Yay!
What he's done here with his man, with his constituency, this is a beautiful setup we have here. And I know what it's like, being African American and trying to get a business in a strange town. This is, it just must have been horrendous, brother. But to see what your guys do is just amazing, man. And it all comes down from being at service. And I'm gonna tell you a little story about myself. Yes, I'm not gonna be long. I'm Mike. I come from a really I come from a drug-infested, crime-infested. Most of my childhood friends, most of the people I grew up, most of them are dead. Or they had, they're going to die in a cotton prison. This is just the life I come from. Hey, precious.
We get security?
Yeah. I realized for a guy like me, I met a gentleman by the name of Customato, and he was something like pastor here. He's somebody that cared about humanity. He cared about humanity, and he taught me how to fight. And it's not that I was the biggest or the strongest guy, but I had the most desire, I had the most will. I was willing to sacrifice the most. Things that meant more to me, which I thought was more to me, was absolute. I wanted to succeed in life. I became a champion. I became a very famous person more out of shame than anything, because I hate the fact that I was born in the sewage. I hate the fact that my mother was a prostitute, my father was a pimp. I hated the fact that, and listen, when I say this, these are educated people, these are college graduates, but these are the choices that they took. I don't come from a derelict. They were addicts because that's what they chose to be. But these people were educated. They're college graduates. I have a brother who's a doctor, who's like one of the top neurosurgeons in the country. And that's just the back. I never went to school though. That's just the choice of the choices I made. I chose to be in the street, and I chose to rob people and get in trouble and just live that lifestyle. And those decisions and choices got me in a lot of trouble until things changed around, and I decided to really, make amends with myself and forgive myself, and not to have a chip on my shoulder. And so many beautiful things happen because my life is all, I've embarked on a life of pretty much being at service. My whole aura is to be places like this to give service, somewhat testimony, somewhat to be there hands-on helping people right now. And so many good things that happen. I just think at the height of my career, right? The height of my career, Pastor, hundreds of millions of dollars, champ of the world. Corporations wouldn't touch me with a 1,000-foot pole. I don't have a tenth, I don't have 1% of the money I have now. I got cartoons now, I got commercials now. You know, listen, I have things that don't add up to the money that I have, but as far as the dignity that represents that, something I never had at the top of my career with hundreds of millions of dollars, I never had dignity. And I've learned that gratitude, being very grateful to what you have, and not worrying about, I'm just mad because I have a G4 and I don't have a G5 and I'm jealous of the guy with the G5. You know, so I've learned to just appreciate everything. I learned to appreciate being here. You know, looking at people that remind me of my kids, looking at people that remind me of my mother, my family, and just being grateful just to breathe this air. You know, breathe God's air, drink His water, see people, and really don't have to think about drugs or money or just something that, because what I am, I'm selfish, and that's what I've always been selfish, and always wanted what I can get from people. And I learned that life is not about pretty much taking, life is about giving. Yeah. Life is all about giving, because we're not going to be here for long. And what they're going to say about us? What are those people's children going to say about us? This man helped my mother. That's all I can see. This guy helped my mother, helped my father. This man helped my parents go to college. And I want that legacy more so than this guy. This rich guy, he made a lot of fun. He knocked out a lot of guys and made a lot of money and did a lot of other things too. I don't want that legacy. I want a legacy to say, this guy helped people. And that's what, and that's pretty much how, you know, I really live my life just now. And I never believed the beautiful things that could happen. I never believed that I could just, live a life like this and have self-dignity, how I thought about myself. I had such a low self-esteem. Hundreds of millions of dollars. Anybody, if I wanted the girlfriend, I call the phone on the phone, I said, I want to know her age. I could anything I want, any car, any plane, but still I had the lowest self-esteem because I had that big, I don't know, that big obese guard hole. Nothing could fill it up. Nothing, money, sex, nothing could fill it up until I had to get some spirituality in my life. And then by getting that spiritual awakening, they gave me an opportunity to be in front of y'all. 10 to 15 years now, I wouldn't have never been in front of y'all because people would be, no, that's not good, no, anything can happen. Me and my hundreds of bodyguards and my disrespectful friends hitting on people's girls, trying to get girls. And I'm glad that people can look at me with dignity and I can conduct myself with dignity now. And I'm just really grateful that I came down here. Thank you. I appreciate you. Really.
All right.
Couple questions in our community. I know amongst us are leaders, people that may be struggling with daily challenges. Any questions you'd like to ask? Yes, sweetheart.
How did you become a boxer?
Well,
how did you become a boxer is the question.
I met a gentleman and he just I got nervous. I got a flashback. Well, listen, I was taught to become a boxer. I had to go repetitions, doing the same thing over and over again. Even when you think you know it, you have to do it over and over and over and over and over again. And that's what it is. It's about dedication and sacrifice. Nobody becomes a boxer because they're good. You have to work hard and become good. No one's born great. You work hard and you become great.
Next question, young man.
Do you know my dad, David Freeda?
Yeah, I know David Freeda. I've seen him fight a lot of times.
Next question, young man.
Was it hard becoming a boxer?
Yeah, anything in life, when you want to be the best in the world at anything, I'm talking about a garbage can man, a janitor, anything you want to be the best in the world of something, there's going to always be disappointing moments. You got to be able to handle those disappointing moments and be disciplined. Don't get discouraged in life. Because life is not going to be an easy sail. There's going to be some rough waters, man. They're going to be real rough. They're going to slam you against the rocks. And you have to be tough enough emotionally and spiritually and come back. You know?
Let me tell you, anybody can become a boxer, but how do you become the best at it? Like Mike just said, repetition, working harder. When we lived in the same house, we both trained hard. We both wanted to be champions. But when I was sleeping at 3 o'clock in the 4 o'clock in the morning, guess what? Mike's upstairs working, doing activities and practicing the skills that were being taught. He was working that much harder than me. I had some success, but for Mike to become a heavyweight champion, he had that much more success because he worked that much harder. He was willing to risk that much more, take that much more, dedication and hard work to get there. Nobody just gave it to him. That was an opportunity that he seized and he worked hard to accomplish. That's a great question.
Sometimes you may hear the pastor say the same thing over and over again. You say, why he said that last week? He said that last week. Because you're not going to really pay attention the first time because it's going to go over your head. And then you got to continue to hear it every day. You keep hearing it, and then one day you say, yeah, I got it. Because you're not going to get it the first time. You're not going to get it the first time. So it has to be over and over again until you believe it, until you live it.
Question. Can you stand up? How do you become famous?
Well, I don't know how you become famous. You just keep doing good things and become successful, and people will notice you. But it's how you become famous.
That's it. Good answer.
Lady.
Were you nervous when you was on the stage?
Nervous on the stage.
I'm always afraid. I was just as afraid as my last fight as I was in my first fight. If anybody said they're in football and they're doing it, even if they're doing acting, if they're doing cheerleading, and they're competing, and they say they're not scared, they're either insane or they're lying. It's just, that's human nature.
And guess what? As we sit in front of you, I'm nervous. Do I look nervous? No. But guess what? Inside, I want to make sure that you guys are understanding, or listening, and open. So I don't know how this is going to go. So for you guys, we want this to go well. So I'm going to be nervous. But in spite of how you feel, even if you're afraid, even if you're nervous, even if you have doubt, in spite of how you feel, if you go out and work and do your best, that's all that you can ask yourself. And then maybe do your best and a little bit more. So I can do a little bit more each time. That's going to lead to success.
And that all comes to loving yourself. We all have to get to, I'm not saying being a narcissistic or anything, a narcissist, but you got to look in that mirror sometimes and say, yeah, I do deserve a beautiful life. I do deserve to have a faithful husband, a boyfriend, a friend. I deserve that. I won't settle for anything less. I deserve that in life. I deserve to have this beautiful life. I've done nothing wrong not to deserve it.
Question.
Amen. That's very good.
Just curious, when you were, you was on the street and doing the things that you were doing, once you came to that victory that you were going to change all that, you were going to get in the gym and work hard to do something that you love, what were some of the things that you were telling yourself that made you get into that mode and get out of the street mode and get into the mode of just focusing on what you wanted to do further on?
I didn't want to live that life no more. My whole life was about, pretty much plotting on people. Hey man, what's up, brother? And plotting and telling my friends he has the money there, it's in his house, go in there and get him. And I didn't want to live that life no more. I remember one day, a friend of mine, they saw me win a national championship on television, and I used to come from upstate, and I used to go back to Brooklyn and still kind of hustle and rob people. And my friend said, man, you may not do that. That's not for you no more, man. Go up there. And this is what he said. He said, Mike, these white people love you, Mike. Go back to those white people, please, Mike. He said, man, I wish I had some white people that love me. And then not long ago, someone murdered him, because that's what we did. We robbed people's houses. We go to people's houses, and we robbed them and do all that crazy stuff. But he died, and from that day on, I've changed my whole life as far as living that dark life again. Mind is not our friend, because it's your mind that tells you to do the crazy things when you're in the best moment of your life. It'll tell you to get high when you're sober. And so, it's a dangerous neighborhood to hang out in by yourself. That's why we need discipline to control our mind. And that's what I basically work on now, because I could be dark, but I don't want it to be dark. I stay in the light. Because I always know this is something about me. When I'm doing good like I am now, I'm doing all these shows, and everybody sees me on television now, I'm a good guy in people's eyes now. And the dark spirits, they come looking for me. And that's what happened when good things happen to me. The dark spirit comes up because he's won a lot of times when he battles me. He won more times than I won. So I got to make comebacks and start beating him now. And so that's what I do. I train every day my mind. So when that day when he comes, I will be ready.
Hi, Mr. Tyson. My name is Christopher Stewart, MyTV26, and I was just wondering if you had any motivational words for a student to go to college. I actually know a few students who are actually going through a really, really rough patch, and they heard that I was going to come talk to you, and they were actually like kind of down because they're still doing, you know, something bad with their life, but they're really wanting that route to take out. Like, what type of motivation like can you give to them, or what type of, you know, guidance can you give to them to let them know that there is hope, there is
hope. You know, listen, people do things that are, you know, dirty, or they do things that are, you know, that's unlawful because they don't have hope for a better life. But there is hope for a better life, but you have to be willing to fight for that better life. It's not going to come to you by osmosis. Nobody's just going to give it to you on a silver platter. You have to fight for it, you have to suffer for it, and then when you receive it, you appreciate it. You know, we live in the era of the generation, zero, where people are self-entitled. They believe they deserve things without working for it. I have a son that's 17 years old. He's been spoiled all his life. He had an uncle that was a lieutenant general. He had me as the father, his mother the doctor, and he thinks we're supposed to give him everything. I'm not going to give him anything. No one ever gave me anything. So, you know, in this world, when you want something in life, you have to show that you have to sacrifice. Sacrifice is pretty much giving up what you think you love for something that you know that's going to be better at the end. You know, sometimes it's just like sweets. Normally food that tastes good is not good for you.
Thank you, Mr. Tyson. I greatly appreciate it.
One more question. Oh, yes, sir.
As you would say, you're from my neighborhood, Brooklyn, East New York,
Brownsville.
And if you come out of there, it takes a lot to make it.
And listen, let me tell you, I know it's the worst place in the poorest neighborhood in the country. And listen, and it's really bad, but I'm so proud to be from there.
Yes, that's our home.
You know, and I'm nothing bad to say, but I'm so proud to be from there. Because if you make it out of there, you can make it anywhere.